Dealing with a disrespectful neighbor can make you feel like you want to throw hands. I know it because I deal with them every day. But as a man on a mission to live a more refined life, you got too much on the line and you don't want to risk it fooling around with these idiots. So I'm going to give you some ways to deal with disrespectful neighbors without catching the case. Let's get right to it. First of all, you want to exercise patience. I know that a lot of us came from backgrounds where we were taught to handle things swiftly and at a high degree, like mash them out immediately. But as we elevate, we can't handle situations that way. And I'm going to give you a story that demonstrates all the principles that I'm about to go over, because this is real life. I'm in the trenches. But you got to exercise patience, right? You can't wipe somebody out at the first violation. Maybe you used to do it that way, but we are elevating, okay? Now, the practical side of being patient is you see what consequences are coming. For instance, somebody could violate you and you could wipe them out immediately and you ain't know there was an officer right there. You could go to wipe somebody out and they could retaliate with a firearm. You didn't know cousin was there. Yeah, cousin was right there. Somebody could let a dog go on you, sick a pit bull on you. Now, those are extreme examples, but they illustrate what I'm talking about perfectly. You got to exercise patience, not out of fear, not because you're timid, but you want to be calculated. Like everything we do in our lives as more refined men is about calculation. And with your conflict resolution, it's no different. So be patient, move slow, right? Assess the area. Think about the situation, right? That takes me to patterns. Sometimes we're reacting to a one-time offense. So we're overdoing it. We can't be too emotional, right? So with patience, you get to look and see if this is a pattern. If it's an ongoing thing, then yeah, you address it appropriately. But if it's a one-time thing, we gotta think about the severity and understand or determine if it even warrants a response. If it warrants a response, how do we step to the offender? Okay, the next point is you don't want to be threatening people. Yeah, you might know how to put the pause on people, beat the brakes off them, but you don't want to imply that when you're talking to somebody, right? We leaving those ways behind. Now, there could be a time and place for that still, but when you're dealing with a neighbor, understand today y'all beefing, tomorrow y'all might need to work together. So you want to leave room for y'all to collaborate in the future. Okay? So you don't want to threaten. A lot of times we talk to people and we try to couch a threat. You know, we do the whole, yo fam, let me holler at you. Yo, take this walk with me. And we do that, you know, it's under the guise of, yo, I just want to rap with you. But we're really trying to imply a threat. And you got to be careful with that, because that'll get you on in bad blood. And you might be able to carry out exactly what you're threatening. But we're trying to elevate. So you don't want to do that. And it puts the other person on the offensive, right? So we got to be more diplomatic. So no threats, right? Unless it's warranted. If it's an extreme situation, then, you know, we could discuss that, okay? The next thing I'm going to tell you is leave folks a way out. When you get into it with somebody, you don't want to create a situation where the only way out is the way you say. Right? So let me break it down. You could come to somebody you're having a problem with and you can suggest a solution. Right? But that solution should allow that person, the offender, to leave with some dignity. Right? Let's say you want an apology and this person doesn't want to give you a full apology. Let's say they're mumbling. You can't create a situation where the only way they could get up out of there is if they give you a fully well articulated apology in loud volume. Because now you're backing them into a corner. And that's not what we want to do, right? So we got to adjust our pride level. Sometimes our pride won't let somebody slide out a situation without fully addressing it. They address it, but understand you can't do them like a puppet. You might not get them to say exactly what you want. You don't want that. So let's say they give you a half-assed apology, or let's say they kind of mumble. You got to stop and assess, you know what? I broke them in a sense. I got what I wanted. They have acknowledged that they were wrong. Let me leave it as is. Why? Because when you put somebody in a corner, they could clap back crazy. All right, so those are some tips. Now, let me give you a story because I'm dealing with this stuff all the time. Now, I wake up at like 4 a.m. So I'm in bed early. I have a neighbor who regularly decides to play his music starting at 9, 10 at night. He's a bum. He doesn't have anything going on. But that boy know how to pick a song. Ain't that crazy? Like some of the people with nothing going on, they know how to put a playlist together. He plays some bangers, but it's just too late. So it's like a Thursday, 9, 10 o'clock. He's banging his music, and it's coming right through my window. Now, he's done this more than once. It's a routine. And I try not to say anything, but I said, in fact, let me tell you about patience. I did not want to address it immediately, right? At 10 at night, while he's playing the music, I could have easily stepped to him, which is the type of person I am. But I said, let me wait. I don't want to do it while it's happening because he's probably going to be too proud to turn his music down if he's jamming 10 at night. Probably off the Corona, probably off of 40. You know what I'm saying? So I said, let me wait. I said, you know what? We always see each other in passing, and he always needs a favor. This is the guy who like wants money. He come to me, he say, hey bro, let me get $1. Let me get $5. So I said, I'm going to see him. Next day, hop out the car in the afternoon, run into him. He was happy to see me. He wanted to dap me up, tap me on the shoulder, all that. I said, hey bro, I need a favor. He said, hey, what's that? I said, at night, when you playing that music, think about me, bro. Right? Which is already more passive language than I like to use. Like, bro, think about me, dude. Nigga, you ain't got to think about nothing. Turn that fucking music down. That's how I really wanted to come. So I feel your pain. This is how we are used to addressing situations. But I softened it, right? Because I'm elevating. I said, bro, do me a favor. When you playing that music, keep me in mind because I get up early. So I had to deal with him in a way that he will receive it. And guess what? The bastard still gave me attitude. Now, remember, this is a guy who will come to me wanting $5, and I don't carry cash. So what I'll do, what I've done 2 or 3 times is go in the house, tear through my closet, rummage through all my pockets, trying to find $2, $3, $4, $5 to give him, which he isn't going to pay back. And this is the same sort of guy who would blow me off when I need something. So I feel your pain, but we elevating. And that's exactly what he did. He tried to blow me off. You know what his answer was? When I said, bro, can you think about me when you playing that music because it's a little bit loud? He got smug and he said, it depends on the time in the day of the week. I'm like, Negro? The time was 10 o'clock. What is he talking about? The day of the week was a weekday. So I don't understand what he's saying. But I had to remember, people have their pride, and when you step to them, sometimes they intend on doing the right thing, but they want to do it on their time. They want to feel like they made their own decision. So me, it's in my nature to force people. Like if you say something slick to me and then try to walk away, I'm the type who want to follow you. Like I get enraged. I want to follow you, step in front of you, and you know what I mean, and push it. I like to push it until it turns into something. That's just my nature. But I said, nah, So as he walked off, I did rebuttal one time. I said, "What, like what you mean?" And then he said something a little bit again. And then I said, but he did say something like, "I think about it." And then I backed off. I said, "Well, bro, just soft voice. Just keep me in mind." So as we elevate, we want to be more refined men, more calculated, upgraded. We are upgrading our lives in all sorts of ways. And this is how you deal with a disrespectful neighbor without catching the case. If you're really interested in upgrading your life, check out the next video. Oh shit, and I got so amped up, I forgot to add the most important part. He acted like he was blowing me off when I confronted him, but the next day, he damn sure had that music turned down lower than the night before. Yeah.